Alright, laid out, we've got the tensioner bits for this 101, not tensioner. This is the bobbin winder. So it's got this leather winder tire on it, and the shaft you'll remember. So to assemble this, we have to put our winder shaft through the main thing here, and I just polished this, but it's not. I must not have wiped that enough. Alright. There, that's not bad. Okay. We'll be able to oil that when we're done assembling this. So, through the central shaft, and then there's this collar with a drive pin on it. Collar with a drive pin on it. And a hole in the shaft, and that collar and hole have to line up because that set screw is going to go through that hole onto that long pin for this tire. And now that's all snugged up. I must have missed that hole. Should have gone through that hole and yeah. All right, let's. Get that in. Alright, it's definitely in the hole. And then we'll push our tire in. Alright, and then I gotta tighten this set screw enough that this will turn. And also it hasn't made it all the way through to our winder tire shaft, because like I said, it's got to catch the end of this shaft. There's even a flat on this shaft for it to dig into, which I suppose I probably should have lined that up. Alright, lined up the flat on the end of this shaft. There we go. Now this is all turning together. Alright. Then with oil on our shaft, a little bit of spinning, and that should maybe I'll get the drill and spin that a little bit to I don't know. Alright. Okay. Alright. Cool. That's spinning. And then this piece pops on like so, and it takes there's a keyhole right here, and this spring has a hole, or has a short pin, and that pin goes around like that, and then this part covers that and has a screw I forgot to find with this. Okay. Well, I'm short one screw. Let me find that missing screw. Okay, the screw I was looking for was on the towel here. It's this one that goes into this slot here. This is the one that adjusts the amount of pressure for the automatic winding, and it also holds this cover on to that spring. And if we put our pivot pin in, this all lines up, and then we can snug that up before we finish putting this on the machine. So we got this assembled, and it's gonna go on the machine. Yep, we're ready to put this all on the machine now. Alright, that upper assembly for the winder is going to go like this, but we need to put our lower assembly for the winder in first. And there's 3 holes in this. There's 3 holes lined up by my fingernail. And you need to get the screw into one of them. And then there's a pin on this piece, and you need to tension that around until you can get the okay. I'm gonna double check this. Yeah. It's got to be able to do that. So, really is a case of not dropping the spring. Alright. Found the spring. There. Okay. Because there's that row of 3 holes, I used the one that's got the least tension on it this time, and that way when we put our piece in, like so, it's easier to rotate back to get this screw in this retainer screw. And then this screw has a shoulder on it, so you got to make sure that when you put it in, you wiggle the piece around until it pops onto the shoulder. There, it just popped out onto the shoulder. Now we can just tighten this down, and that shoulder means this piece will move freely now. Okay. And then, because this piece lifts up, we gotta, that spring came through and is tensioned. This is the lift spring. So we gotta push that down around to the spot where it rides. Make sure that our finger is lifted, and then okay, finger up, spring there. See how these pieces are intertwined, and now we should be able to push and have this screw line up with its hole. Come on. Come on now. Oh, okay. All right, new approach. I have barely threaded this in. Now that that's threaded on and started, I'm gonna pull that spring down around and lift this there. With it threaded and the spring all in place, now we can just tighten this down. Put a little oil on the screw as we go here. And again, this has got a shoulder on it, so it should. Yep. There we go. And that winder is in place. Now the winder is in place, we can stick. Hand wheel in. And then I gotta check this clutch washer. Okay, that washer goes outside the shaft. So the diagram that had the spacer washers in it must be an older style that had shim washers if you needed them. So well, alright, there is one set screw for the hand wheel. Tighten that up. And then double check that both of these set screws are tight. There we go. All right. There. Alright, I feel like this collar is causing a little bit of roughness. Oh. There it is. All right. All right. So this collar is just supposed to hold this gear in place, and it needs to leave enough room for the clutch to move, so all right, the clutch is moving. And that gear is clutching. All right. So we'll put our stop washer back on, and our lock, or our stop motion nut. And now with this loose, all right, that clutch is all right, and then all right, that is working now. And our bobbin winder is out of adjustment, but that can get fixed. All right, that stop motion clutch is back together.